ladies and gentlemen, once again, you know who it is. It's the big guy with the big show, the Lord Nelson, that is. Yes, indeed, for the podcast, Live and Loud with the Lord on the CMS network with 5 Royals Entertainment. And ladies and gentlemen, once again, another handsome face with this handsome face. How can we lose? It's just a great thing. This young man is an amazing individual, and we're going to have a great conversation. But as always, you know I've got to read a little something that I've written about them to big them up, to let it be known and shown who they are. So I will proceed like this. Ladies and gentlemen, when you are introduced to new music and you immediately start bobbing your head to it, you know you've come across something dope and exciting. These young men have a definite vibe and their production is awesome. Musicians, truly musicians, talented musicians with meaningful lyrics, allowing us to become part of their amazing moment of music creativity. My brothers and sisters, I am honored to have this amazing young man representing his band. Bless the Live and Loud with the Lord show with his presence and their presence. Without further ado, I welcome for you, Venrez. Yeah. Yes, indeed. What's up, bro?
Hey, man, it's a pleasure to meet you, the Lord Nelson, and I love your energy, and it's an honor to be on your show. Thank you for having me.
Hey, the feelings are mutual and reciprocated, my brother. So, as always, first question, where are you from?
Well, I was born in Los Angeles, and I lived there my entire life till last January when...
oh, really?
I moved to Las Vegas. It was... I never thought I'd leave my city, although, you know, I think the whole country is kind of aware of the issues with California and San Francisco and Los Angeles. It's just become very dangerous to live there, and it costs a lot of money to live there. So, you know, I figured, why pay all this money to live, you know, somewhere where I'm in fear of my life every time I leave my house?
Got you.
So I moved to Las Vegas, and I just, you know, January 27th was a year that I've been here, and I like it here. And there's a lot of rock stars living here. Many of them my friends, and you got the best food in the country, great entertainment. And if you know, I live in the suburb part of it, and it's new, it's clean, there's no traffic, and great spots all around. People are really nice, and you know, I've kind of learned to love the desert landscape as opposed to the ocean landscape.
Right. So being an LA guy, what was the best thing about being there before all the madness ensued?
It was just a great city, and you know, the music scene was great. You know, it's not anywhere near where it used to be because we've lost so many of the rock clubs. Right. You know, on Sunset Boulevard, you know, the House of Blues is gone, the Key Club's gone. And it's just pretty much the Viper Room, which is a small club. It's fun to play, but it's a 220 cap. So it's pretty much the Viper Room and the Whiskey A Go-Go.
Right, I was going to ask that.
You know, and I mean, you know, we've played both venues many times, but you know, downtown is so beautiful, and there's great rooftop restaurants and bars, and of course, you know, lunch at the beach, and I do miss some of that, and I'm still getting used to living here. But you know, I just tell everybody I moved to a suburb 4 hours east. You know,
4 hours east. Well, listen, with the traffic in LA, I guess that might not be too bad sometimes.
Well, it doesn't take me an hour to get to where I want to go for dinner or meet my friends. Yeah.
Right. Indeed. So you guys have a classic rock sound that is fresh and inviting. And I feel your production, orchestration, and your lyrical delivery is very important about what you do. It separates you from the old school greats, which you guys still have that sound. So what do you feel makes you uniquely you?
Um, that's a really good question. I was very inspired, lyrically,
Mm-hmm.
by John Lennon, Bob Dylan, Jim
Mm-hmm.
Morrison. Although, I just didn't see bands writing lyrics about meaningful topics. And John Lennon and Bob Dylan really did. And I felt that everything had been dumbed down quite a bit.
Right.
So I felt when we started the band that I wanted to talk about all kinds of things that were meaningful, on point, that people could relate to. And, of course, I tell my stories in a way that are different than everybody else, which gives us our unique style. And I'm really proud of it. And I'm honored that you recognize that. And, we've had some shows on tour where I might be walking by the merch booth or something, and, a fan who was at the show will tell me a line in one of my songs that was kind of a heavy line. And, that kind of makes it all worthwhile, because the lyrics have been so dumbed down that for rock music, so many fans are just really listening to the music. They're not listening to the lyrics.
Right.
And I'm trying to do my part to change that.
Well, I will say that me being a writer and a lyrical guy also, I always say that the music gets you, but the lyrics keep you. And you definitely have the power of those lyrics, because you're saying something every single time, So I was just like, as I'm going through your catalog, and I'm just like, okay. Oh, all right. Okay. He's once again, he's talking about something. So I appreciate that. I really do, man. I love that. And, I will tell my kids sometimes, like, no, it's no disrespect to the music of today, but it's just not what we, grew up with. And everything was so meaningful, whether it was love or whatever topic we were talking about, it meant something to us. And more so today, they like a vibe. So we just want to have a good time. They're not worried about a lot of those things. So I appreciate you saying that. So we were kind of talking about it before. Let's talk about that the name Venrez. How did this happen? How do we get this unique name?
Well, we've had a lot of different versions of the band,
right,
from its inception. The current lineup came together in 2018, and it's the best lineup we've ever had. Right. But, in the first lineup, I had a couple friends that were in the band, and they came up with a combination of my first and last name. Stephen is my real first name. Venrez, spelled Berez, is my last name. And they came up with Venrez, Venrez.
Right.
And I didn't like it because, I'm a confident guy, but I'm a very humble guy.
Right.
And I thought that was like maybe crossing the line, from humble to, not being humble. But, I was green. They were all real experienced musicians. And so I caved into it. And, over the years, I've learned to make peace with it and kind of like it. It's pronounced Venrez, but it's spelled Venrez, Venrez. And it's given us fans it's great. They just argue over the correct pronunciation. So, it's actually worked to our advantage. And I have to give credit to my friend Tommy Johnson and, Silver Lance, who came up with it and kind of shoved it down my throat, because in the long run, they were right.
Right, indeed. That's awesome. You're a really good friend of mine, Ryan Ross. He's from Napa Valley, and he's in a band called Vengeance. Great hardcore melodic band. They're great. Just great guys. I toured with them overseas when I was with Stuck Mojo. Just great guys. But when I first met Ryan, his last name is Raes, and so of course I thought it was Ray, And then he was like, no, it's Ross. And so I was just like, that is so crazy to me. But once again, you never know, the pronunciation of things. So no, I'm glad you said that, because the whole time I was like, Venrez. And then you said Venrez, but it makes sense to me. It totally makes sense to me. Yes, indeed. So all of your instrumentation is so in concert with each other. Does this speak to your talent, the time you guys have spent together, practice, or all of these things?
I think it's all of them. I mean, I fired everybody so many times. The consistent person in the band with me over the years is Jason Womack. He was the bass player in Juliette Lewis and the Licks. And in fact, they're going to be doing about 3 one-off shows soon in California. And we hooked up and shook hands to work together. And he writes all the music. I write all the lyrics. And he was influenced by the Jesus and Mary chain. And actually all the bands that kind of spun off from that. So we do kind of, when you have a new band on the rise, you kind of try to compare them to people. And we'll get to that in a minute. But we had a bass player who was very talented. He decided he wanted to seek God and really carry the word of Jesus, which I respected. The drummer was more of a jazz drummer and older. And I just felt it was just time to make a change. And we held some auditions, and we got Victor Singer, who was 25 at the time. He's now, I think he's 29. He'll be 30 in December.
Right.
And we auditioned bass players and brought in Gabe Maska, who's I think is one of the top 3 or 4 bass players in rock music. He's going to be doing a fantasy camp thing where he's going to be playing with Chad Smith here pretty soon. He's a big Red Hot Chili Peppers fan, but and he's now 30. He was 26 when he joined the band. Victor was 25, and it's just the best lineup we've ever had. Jason can make 3 guitars sound like one, we were a 5-piece for a while, but we went to a 4-piece, and it's worked out really, really, really well. I just think we created a new genre. I call it epic alternative rock. We're obviously melodic, very similar to a very, kind of a real modern today's version of an Alice in Chains type band with, the harmonies, the backing vocals that Jason delivers.
Right.
But, I've got this baritone thing, which is kind of similar to Jim Morrison and, Lane Staley and my good friend who's not with us anymore, Chris Cornell. And so far it's been working pretty well. But this new EP, Sip the Cup, we picked 6 songs for that. Which I really think are some of the best songs we recorded. And when you talk about production, we had the Malcolm Springer out of Nashville produce the album.
Right.
And in addition to the band, we brought in some guest players too, like Paul Allen from 10 Finger Orchestra, and Case, who does a lot of guitar work on stuff for Malcolm Springer. He's produced, mixed, and engineered like so many hits, Matchbox 20, Collective Soul, Tantric. He even mixed a big hit for Kanye West. So the production is the best production we've ever had. I think Malcolm's a real talented guy. And the single, the first single, Sip the Cup, the music video's out now. It released on the 16th. Yeah.
Yes, indeed.
It's on streaming, but today it went to commercial radio. So I'm excited to see how well it does on the charts.
No, it should do very well, young man. Indeed, indeed. And listen, once again, ladies and gentlemen, I always say when you have great guests who answer 9,000 of your questions that's coming up and bulk it all into what I said, this guy's a professional. He knows. He knows.
Yeah.
So we might touch on something a little bit more, but he's talked about so much stuff already, which is magnificent to me. And so I'm really hearing into what you're talking about, man. It's really, really a good time. So your songs have nice tempos to them. So is this a deliberate aspect of your music?
Yeah, I think Jason really tried to, create a special sound for us.
Mm-hmm.
The first 4 records were indie before we got our first record deal. We just now signed our second record deal.
Right.
And with Wake Up Music, fabulous Pepper Gomez, the owner. And he writes some very complex music. I mean, you have to be a damn good musician to play the parts that he writes. And they have stops and turnarounds and things that really catch the listener.
Right. This dude right here, man. Yeah.
And especially like on tour, they're like, and then boom, and like, whoa. And like, he's been really gifted at it. He's challenged me tremendously as a lead singer. With some of the songs, I'll get the demo and I'll write the lyrics, he'll write music to it and sing it, and then I'll do the vocals, or he'll send me music and I'll write lyrics to it. We've done that. We've jammed and recorded it and written songs from the jams, and we've just sat down in the recording studio and just started from zero and written some songs that way. And we've been working together a long time, and we're very prolific. I mean, we recorded 64 demos between March 20th, 2020, when LA shut down for the pandemic, until last January. I can't wait to get back to writing more, even though we have a new EP coming up.
All right, man. Listen, it's just awesome. So you spoke about Jason being your guy, and you guys, it was on a handshake. So how did you actually meet each other?
Well, I had a nice new apartment I was living in, and I had a long-term friend who is a singer-songwriter, and he ended up moving in with me, and we lived together for a while. And he knew a lot of big rock stars, but we wanted to build a tiki bar out on this huge patio I had, and he had all these guys coming over working on the patio. One of them was Jason Womack. And, I'm glad that I didn't research these guys before I started working with them, or I would have been too intimidated, right?
Right.
So he's on his knees, helping lay the paint color down on the deck. And, when the guys that were in Juliet and the Lewis, they all quit the band. They do one-offs with her now, but they quit and they started a famous band called Petty Cash. They now have all their own individual projects, right? So they had a residency at the Key Club, and they would go on from 10 p.m. to midnight downstairs, and at midnight upstairs on Monday nights with Steel Panther, who, is blown up huge. So he took me to the show, and I saw him, playing with Petty Cash. And as soon as their set was over, as he was like starting to unplug his guitar, I walked up to him and I said, "You can't work for me anymore." He's
it's
like,
all been
"What?"
A farce. It's been a farce.
He thought I was. I said, "No, man, you're just way too good and powerful." So I was just joking with him. It kind of shook him up a bit.
Yeah.
And then, I had a PA and a board and stuff at my house because I put playlists together. And when I get home from work, I would plug in and kind of karaoke my playlist for an hour and dance around and jump around. Kind of really kept me in shape, right? So he started coming over. We were hanging out at my house because they were working on the tiki bar, and then, he grabbed a guitar and he started playing. I started singing, and it really sounded good. And we talked about starting a band, and I just said, "What do you really want to do?" And he said, "All I want to do is music." And I shook his hand. I said, "Let's do it together." And we made that agreement. That was 2009.
Right. Which, listen, which I saw that. I said, Jason, you guys got together in 2009. So did you always know what you wanted Venrez to be from the start? And do you feel you have achieved this?
I just wanted to send my message through my lyrics. Jason helped achieved it by writing the music. I am a musician. I play a lot of different instruments, but he came up with the Venrez sound. The first record, Sell the Lie, I thought was pretty solid. And then the second record, American Illusion, was very heavy. And I think by the time we got to Children of the Drones, we really dialed in the Venrez sound. And I have to give him credit for it. And of course, I gave him some feedback.
Of course.
But we never had, we didn't get a record deal until April of 2021. So we'd never really had our music go to radio. So when we got our first record deal with Pavement Entertainment out of Chicago.
You were with Pavement,
Yeah, we were with Pavement. We did a 6-song EP with them. And I was really excited about the first song going to radio to see how it would do. Just like my first tour, wondering how the fans were going to react. You have no idea.
Of course.
And, it went all the way to number 2 on the charts.
Awesomeness.
And the second single, Each and Every Day, went to 17. I think it might have gone higher if we released it at a different time, because 3 weeks into the promotion, like 9 of the biggest bands on earth all dropped new records. So, we didn't have 2 top 40 hits. We had 2 top 20 hits.
Wow. Yeah.
Off a 6-song EP.
Yeah.
And, to break the top 40, I mean, that just blew my mind,
of course.
to go all the way to number 2. So, that was very, very satisfying. And then, we toured most of the summer with Buck Cherry. It was pretty hot, big heat wave through the country at that time.
Right.
And and then we started recording the new record with Malcolm Springer and our fantastic manager, Bob Chaparty of Concrete Marketing out of Nashville. Presented us to Wake Up Music Rocks, and they had a slot for a new rock band, and they just absolutely loved us, which is great. And they're just doing a lot more for us. And they're a newer label. Pavement's more established, and they have a lot of established acts. Puddle of Mud, Candlebox, and, Ted Nugent, bands like that. Now, we really needed a record company that was going to help with the financial aspects and who really knew how to do PR and push us correctly.
Of course.
On a consistent basis, right? And so far, I just got to really take my hat off to Pepper Gomez. And that label's doing a fantastic job. I mean, we're just starting. And, this interview is my first interview. Set up behind the release.
Hey, man, listen. She put a little pepper on it, and that's all you guys needed. That's all you guys needed.
Yeah, she's fiery and spicy, that one.
That's love.
She's Latina, and she's...
Shout out to Pepper.
Yeah. We love you, Pepper.
Pepper, I don't know you, but we love you. Great thing. Great time. Awesome. So, what do you feel your 2 young superstars, Victor and Gabe, bring to the band that you did not have before?
Well, I've got one of the best rhythm sections of rock and roll. I mean, Victor Singer at 25.
Yeah.
He's now 29. that kid was as good as Dave Grohl at 25.
Woo.
And Gabe Maska, he is every bit as good as Flea. I mean, these kids are huge, and
Awesome.
I discovered them young.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, Gabe is constantly jamming on the Strip. He's made a name for himself on the
Right.
Hollywood Strip. A lot of people know who he is.
Mm-hmm.
There was the 27 show here in Vegas at the Virgin for a year. He had a residency. He looks like
wow.
Kurt Cobain.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah, it was about all the different stars that died at 27, right? Right, like Kurt Cobain, Jim Morrison, Jimi Hendrix, Janis Joplin, and they had a house band. It was fantastic, but and these people would come out and they would look like them and it would sing just like them. And so he played Kurt Cobain, and he's a great singer.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So I was really lucky to land both those guys, and it just took the band to another level. And we'd always had issues at bass.
Mm-hmm.
We had so many different bass players. Our original bass player was Melvin Brandon Jr. from the Dan Reed Network.
Mm-hmm.
And very shortly before we got our first tour, Dan Reed decided he wanted to get back into it big, which was in 2010. And so he went to go be with him. And we had Mike Bradford, who was a childhood friend of Jason Womack, who did a real good job. And then, he just decided to leave the band, and we brought in Nico Darnice, and who was really good, who decided he found Jesus and wanted to, just bring the word of God and Christ, which I respect.
Right.
And then, so by bringing in Gabe, we've had a consistent bass player. And actually, Victor came in when Nico was still in the band. And when he left, then we brought in Gabe. And, I just think we have one of the best rhythm sections in rock and roll. I really do.
Awesome.
These kids they are players, man. I mean,
100%.
I mean, the recorded stuff sounds great, although live, I think it's very special what's going on live.
No, it's definite love, man. So what do you feel is the most important aspect of keeping a band together? Because so many bands go through so many different things. Because, even with Stuck Mojo, there was Bones, and then I came in and replaced Bones, and then another guy came in after me. And so what is it to keep this unit together?
I struggled with that for years.
Mm-hmm.
I paid everybody more than they should have been.
Mm.
I did everything I did. I just always wanted to be a band,
Right.
And it just didn't work. And what ended up working in the end was the guys in the band love the music, believe in the project.
Yes.
Love the lyrics that I write, and my presence on stage as a front man. And what's kept it all together is their love of the project.
Awesome.
And I think that probably a lot of the guys in the band before were, great musicians who were more in it to get paid than they were for the love of the band.
For the love of the music and the band. Yeah. Now I feel you that. I just know that even I have in the band that I'm in now with Plastic Catastrophe with Lord Nelson, I feel so much of the stuff that you're saying. I feel like I'm parallel with you. I'm running with you right there. And I'm looking at you like you're saying certain things, because I'm like, yeah, because I do all the writing. And of course, Matt does some writing also, but lyrically, really, it's me. And he allows me to be me, and I allow him to do the music as he feels. And when he sends me things, I'm just writing. And we have such we're so in tune right now. And so it just feels to me like you guys are so in tune. And
I have the same relationship with Jason. It's been 14 years now. It's a different world today. There are no rules.
Right. That's right.
In rock and roll. We've built a big grassroots following, as indie artists. And it's been 14 years. I think it's the sixth record.
Right.
They're not going to drop the record until we have a tour.
Okay.
Which will probably be about June. So I think this single will get out there and make a bunch of noise. And I don't know if they're going to drop the second single and then a third, right
Right.
before we tour and drop the album, or if it's going to happen with the second. They have the first 3 singles lined up. Obviously, the first one, Sip the Cup.
Mm-hmm.
The second one will be Cross the Line. Third one would be Who You Foolin'.
Right.
Which you know, I kind of agree with. So what I'm trying to say is it just really is like all beginning right now, and it's not the 80s or 90s.
Right.
You know, it kind of ended in 90 or 91, but you know, prior to that, these AR guys, you know, in LA from all the labels, they would jump in limos, you know, on Friday or Saturday night, and they'd stop at each club, see all these new bands playing. Yeah. And then, you know, if they saw something they liked, the next day they had a record contract. You know, I mean, those days have been over since 1990.
That's real.
And so it wasn't 3 to 5 records in 5 years like it was in those days. And the pandemic's changed a lot too. So, you know, now it's getting out there and busting your ass for as long as it takes to finally get a label to sign you and do the things for you need to do to reach the masses. And we have that now. So it's going to be fun from here on out. Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun.
Great. You guys have it's a great collective, man. It really is. I mean, it's enjoyable to listen to, and just like, you know, your lyrics complement everything so well. And just like I was saying, you're saying something, and that's enjoyable to me being a writer. So I really love that part of it. So what has been the most rewarding part of being a musician to you so far?
Being able to do it. You know, I think anybody that I don't call myself a rock star. I'm too humble, you know. There's a lot of people around the world that do. You know, to me, a rock star is somebody who can't walk down the street anywhere without being recognized.
No, that's you. You just don't know it yet. That's you. You just don't know it yet.
I just never call myself a rock star, man. I'm just way too humble for that. But, you know, I mean, we've toured with Slash and Miles Kennedy. And Slash is in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, man. You know, we toured with Alice Cooper. He's in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. I've played to 8 people. I've played to 80,000 people. Yeah. So, you know, God and my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ decided to give it to me a little later in life. And, you know, I just believe God's plan is God's plan, and things happen when they're supposed to. And whether you like it or not, it's just the way it is.
When you get goosebumps from people, and here I am with what you just said, like you got, you know, it happened for you a little later in life. Same thing with me. To be able to do what I did when I got with Stuck Mojo, it happened a little later in my life. I have no regrets. You know, everything's just been life lessons to me, and I've just enjoyed, you know, what has come to me. And so when you say these things, it's just like, man, I'm just like, wow, man. I said, man, it's just like me, man. It's just crazy, but it's so cool because we're appreciative. And just like you, I'm a super humble dude. Now, when I get on that stage and I become Lord Nelson, I'm Lord Nelson. But when people give me, you know, when accolades or they say like, hey, you're this or that, I'm always like, well, thank you very much. You know, I appreciate it. But now when I'm with my friends, I'm like, man, I am that guy. You know, I'm that dude. But I really am a calm, humble guy. I'm a big guy. I'm 6'5", 280, you know, so I'm a big dude. But I understand that very clearly. And so,
well, you know, it's a gift, you know, to be able to get out on stage with a great band. You got a packed house out there going crazy.
Oh, man.
You know, why do you think Mick Jagger's still doing it at 80? He certainly doesn't need the money, you know. It's addictive. And, you know, there's nothing else like it. And maybe that's why some of those bands in the 70s and 80s tore up hotel rooms and threw TVs out the window. They just, you know, they wanted to get that energy back. You know, the only thing I found that kind of placates me a bit when I'm not touring is jet skiing.
Oh, really? You like jet skiing? Okay.
Yeah, I'm really good at it too. I get out there on the water. That really gets the adrenaline pumping, you know, popping up in the air, spin around and stuff. And when you know what you're doing, you don't really crash. You can do some crazy shit.
Right.
So that's probably a better way to go than throwing LCD hotel televisions out the window.
So ladies and gentlemen, you see, he's a humble guy, and when he's talking about that music, but when he talked about that jet ski, he's like, I'm really good at it. I love it. I love it. No, but just having the confidence in knowing who you are and what you do and feeling great about it is an amazing thing, man. So I love that, man. So it kind of segues, going back just a second or so, what you were saying with all the bands, big and small, you share the stage with. Who has taught you something that is invaluable?
God.
God.
And I'll tell you why.
God. That's big. It doesn't get any bigger.
And I'll tell you why, because we haven't talked about it yet. I moved to Vegas in January 23, and then we played a club that's literally 10 minutes down the street. It's a club a lot of big bands play called Vamped, Counts Vamped, who had the show Counting Cars on television. That's his club.
Okay, yeah.
And so we just tore that. We just tore that one apart. What a great show that was. And then, everybody went home. And Jason called me 3 days later to inform me that he'd been diagnosed with stage 3 colon cancer.
Oh, man.
And he's still dealing with that. He recently had the second surgery to reattach his small intestine to his colon. And so I had to tour all summer with Buck Cherry without him, which I've never done before. I've never been on stage without him. Mm-hmm. And we brought in Edgar Nieto, childhood friend of my bass player, Gabe Masca, same age, 30 years old, great player.
Right.
And so I did the tour with Edgar on guitar, not Jason, and Gabe did the backing vocals instead of Jason. Mm-hmm. And we went out there and killed every show. And the greatest thing I learned is that no matter what trials and tribulations come, I write the songs, and I was taught that no matter what happens, I can walk out there on stage and do my thing and do it at the high level I do, no matter who's playing with me on stage. And that's the greatest lesson that I learned. It's given me another level of confidence. Not that I didn't have confidence, I always did. Although having to go out there and tour without Jason,
right,
that shook me up a little bit.
Yes,
but I took the stage for the first show, and I'm like, "Damn, this is really working."
Right. So
that's the greatest lesson I learned. The second lesson I learned is I've toured with a lot of people, and I think some of these big stars don't realize that without the fans, they don't have a career.
That's right. That's right.
And so I think that equal to that is the biggest lesson that I've learned is, to always be humble and grateful and appreciate my fans and all fans of rock and roll. And I think some rock stars forget that, especially some of the ones that made it really young. They just get caught up with what they're doing.
Yes.
A guy comes to a show with his son who's been a fan for 20 years and wants to take a photo, and they refuse to do it, And so I'll stand out there and sign for hours, and I'll do it. I mean, at some point you have so many people that you can't talk to everybody.
Right.
Although you can make sure they understand how grateful you are to them.
My brother, let me, you have hit me so hard there with this segment right here. First starting off with Jason and then finishing up with that. My dudes, Relentless and Hell B, John Winters, they always say that we just need more good human beings in the world. I feel that from you. I feel that you're really a great human being. And these last things that you just said about talking with the fans and doing that. I always wanted to do that. And, when I was really new with Stuck Mojo, but I was enjoying every single thing that was going on. I was the moment, and all the fans were enjoying my moment. And it was great to me. They were a part of me. They were a part of me because I was the moment, and they were enjoying it. And so I wanted to take pictures. I wanted to do whatever they wanted to do. And yes, when we toured with Volbeat, there were so many people out there. You start kind of understanding that you can't talk to everybody, but I still did my best to talk to as many people as I could. I wanted to let them know that I'm here and I am appreciative of everything that they do and are doing and singing the songs and all that. So when you said that, man, I'm telling you, really, I got a little emotional. And it started off, let me go back. It started off really with you saying about Jason, and I send my prayers and love to him, most definitely, because my mother died from colon cancer. And so when you said that, it just took me back to the things that I went through as a young man and losing her, right before right after I graduated from high school. And so when you said that, I was just like, man, it just took me back. And I'm a very visual person, so I started seeing all those things. And now I'm looking at Jason like, it's just like, man, I just want to hug him, just like, hey, I want you to be better, because I understand how difficult that is. And ladies and gentlemen, when they tell you to go get these colon, tests to see do it, colonoscopy, I waited for a long time because I was scared of it because of what it is. And I was just like, I don't know, but I had to do it. And so, anyway, thank you for that and saying that. And I can understand that very clearly, man. I'm an emotional guy, so that got me. All of that really got me, man. So once again, Vin, I really appreciate that.
Well, yeah, I got to tell you this story. I've learned so much from my young bass player, Gabe Masca. I mean, a lot of times we come off the stage, guys will go, great show, whatever. And I guess we were on a tour, and we had a great show, and then Gabe just said, you're so Joey Ramone out there. He's like, I've just never seen a singer bring it the way you did tonight. And I'm like, because my band never really says anything like that to me, and they don't really compliment me, So I'm like, really? And he's like, I said, well, you never paid me a compliment like that before. And he goes, well, I didn't think you needed to hear it. Right.
Oh, right.
So Edgard killed the tour, and Gabe said to me, a few months ago, he said, well, when Jason can come back, let's keep Edgard. That'll be the band from hell, right? And go back to two guitars. So that's exactly what we're going to do. I think we're going to start touring in June. Jason started the last round of chemo, which you do after the surgeries and all that this week. And he will be good to go by that tour.
Great.
So for any of our fans out there that see this segment, we're bringing in, we're going to have two guitar players. And Jason writes the music for two guitars.
Right.
And I can't wait to get out there live with both those guitar players on stage. I mean, it's kind of nice being a four-piece, because I have a little bit more room.
Right.
And sometimes when you're opening for big bands and you have to set up in front of them, with a five-piece, sometimes I don't have a lot of room to do much.
Right.
Sometimes I have a lot of room. Sometimes I have a postage stamp. It kind of limits what you can do.
I know it. I know it well.
Although I can't wait to tour behind this new EP with Edgard and Jason on guitar, and we'll probably for the first time let Gabe do some backing vocals with Jason, since he did them all on the last tour.
Right.
Have a few 3-part harmonies in there. It's going to be fantastic. And I just can't wait to get in a rehearsal with these guys and start playing all these new songs just to see what it sounds like. But of course, it'll be a few months until Jason's feeling good enough to travel. Yeah.
I got you. Well, once again, prayers go out to, Jason, speedy recovery, young man. Yeah, man, just a great segment, man. So What does success look like to you?
I think I've already achieved it.
Awesome.
You know, I mean, we're not headlining yet. When I walk down the street, people think I'm Howard Stern. They don't know that I'm Venrez. Although, you know, we've got our second record deal. We had 2 top 40 hits off our last 6-song EP. I think we're going to have 2 or 3 more off this new EP.
Right.
I've toured with Alice Cooper, Slash, Richie Ramone, Michael Schenker, Hardcore Superstar, Buck Cherry, a lot of bands, you know, the LA Guns, Enough's Enough.
Awesome.
I've been on stage for thousands of people.
Yes.
You know, and you know, if it ended today, if it ended this afternoon without turning into some big headline band and getting, you know, millions of streams and views on my videos, things of that particular nature, I could walk away from it right now satisfied that I've accomplished, you know, a great percentage of what I wanted to, and I've been able to do things that people dream of that never get to do. So we'll see what God's plan for the future. But I'm happy with what I've achieved so far, and whatever God's plan is, I'm okay with it. Whether we turn into some monstrous act or I go off into the sunset, either's, you know, whatever God's plan is okay with me. So far, I've been treated well.
Indeed. Lovely. I love it. I love that. I really do. But I don't think people really understand that a lot of us, we all would love to be the biggest band in the world, but we love the music and we're so appreciative of the gift that we've been given to do this. And right. People who don't understand this dream or don't have that passion, they really don't get it. They really don't get it. I love music and it makes me feel a certain way. It takes me through the gamut of emotions. So I can be over here to there, and it's as I like to say, music is a time machine. And you can go back and listen to when you hear one of those, like say you hear one of your old songs that you did, you know, back on Witch's Brew, say when you first started, and then you're like, man, where was I? Ooh, I was here, man. Right. This, you know, it's you get time machined is what I like to say. It's an amazing thing. It really is.
Yeah, Witch's Brew was the very first record. We don't talk about it much because, you know, Jason and I just wrote, we call it Witch's Brew because it was all the songs were so different.
Right.
And then after that, we kind of started dialing in the Venrez song. Right. But sometimes when I go back to listen to it, and the first time I did, you know, years had gone by.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to listen to it because I feel I'm such a better singer now than I was then. Okay. But I go back and I listen to that record we recorded 14 years ago.
Right.
And maybe 15 years ago. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, well, damn, you weren't that bad.
That's right. That's right.
You know, actually, the vocals were pretty good on that.
Yes. And listen, it's awesome for you to say that because even so, sometimes I'll tell my wife when I go back and I listen to some things that I've done back in the day, I'm like, or with my kids and we're listening to some of my old stuff and it's like, I wrote that. What was I thinking when I wrote that? I wrote that. That's amazing to me that I wrote that. I don't even believe.
Let me ask you a question.
Ask me.
Because I've had that feeling a lot.
Yes.
I have written songs where I know I'm writing them.
Uh-huh.
And I have written songs where when I'm done, I'm like, who the hell wrote that?
That's right.
I'm like, did you write that? Well, I'm not quite sure I did. Maybe the spirits out there, you know, you do write some stuff. And then maybe some of them work through you to write others, right. You know.
There's no doubt. But
when it's all done and recorded and you listen to it, some of them you're like, holy heck, did I write that? I think fans who aren't musicians don't understand that the way you and I do.
Right. Hey, man, 100%. I do it a lot. And I was just like, man, where was I mentally to say that? or to put that together like that. So no, it's amazing to me. It just makes me smile, and because I love what I do, and so no, that's awesome, man.
Well, but we've had divine intervention all through the band. I mean, usually when I write something, I email it to Jason and myself, and then I save it in a folder.
Right.
And I guess we were on the road, and I wrote a song called "Hang the Predator," which won Best Rock and Hard Rock Song in 2016
Awesome.
by the Academy Awards.
Mm-hmm.
We always end the set with that song.
Mm-hmm.
And I had forgotten to email it to Jason because we were on the road. I texted it to him.
Mm-hmm.
And he was about to get rid of some old phone, but he wanted to look at what's on there, and he found the lyrics.
Uh-huh.
And I forgot I'd even wrote it. So he sent me the lyrics, and he wrote the music to it. And it ended up to be our biggest indie hit.
Wow.
And then Sip the Cup is similar but different.
Uh-huh.
He had written this great music, and it took me a while to write the lyrics that would kind of fit to it. It was really difficult, because of how it moved.
Okay,
but we ended up nailing it, and man, it's the first music video and single going to radio off the new EP. So, that's got to be some divine intervention.
Of course. The segue, ladies and gentlemen, once again, this guy is such a professional. We roll right into it. Sip the Cup single and video is awesome. So it's a dope song with dope visuals. And then once again, your delivery and message. And the message of the song is super loud without screaming. Your it's just, you're saying so much and you're really saying it loudly, but you're not screaming. It's just, you just give it to us. So what or who inspired these strong lyrics of this song?
Well, I write, fantasy love songs. I write about real life.
Yeah.
I usually always, and I'm so anti-war, and so I usually take a shot at anti-war and at government and tyranny every record.
Right.
But on this EP, there are two songs like that. So when I saw the movie 300, I wrote the song "Vultures," which is on the indie record "American Illusion." But with the invasion of Ukraine and all of that, I actually had two songs. So Sip the Cup was kind of my taking ancient battles, historic ancient battles, and equating them to modern warfare.
Okay.
And that's what Sip the Cup's about. And then, the last track on the EP is called War Machine. And that's primarily about what's going on in the world today with the Middle East and, Russia, Ukraine, and all of that. The industrial complex is starving for grease. They never say, pretty please. Fire up the furnace and churn out metal wings. Time has come to feed the war machine.
Yeah.
And, war is money. And,
100%.
Not to get political, because I don't really care for Joe Biden. I don't really care for Donald Trump. I don't really care for a lot of these political people out there.
Right.
One thing I can say about Donald Trump is we didn't have any war in his administration.
Right.
So I don't want to really thank Joe Biden or what might be perceived as a weaker America with foreign policy or whatever, but I can't stand all that loss of life, although a couple of good songs came out of it.
Yeah, no, listen, I hear you. My father's a military guy, and I had a lot of people, a lot of family members and friends that, military, man, and that war is something else, it really is. And I'm thankful for all the things that they've done, but war is something serious, man. And when you're watching the Ukraine and the Russian stuff and all the stuff that's going on, and then, as you said, the loss of life, and when they're bombing all these places, it just makes me, being an older guy now, I'm just like, oh, damn, they're just killing people. It's just like, life's over. It's done. It's so, anyway, I don't get really political and all that stuff either, but just seeing those things and being an empathetic person, it bothers me.
Well, I think something needs to be said about it. No one seems to be doing it. So, so I'm doing it,
Awesome.
Go ahead, cancel me, do it. See if you can.
Right.
Just, like Kid Rock, you do have to be careful with what you post and things of that particular nature. Although when I'm doing an interview with someone like you, I'm just going to speak from my heart and my soul.
Of course. I appreciate it.
Yeah, a lot of people are dying, and they're dying, so the Lizard Kings can continue getting their billions, Just like all the bands and promoters and clubs lost a lot of money over 2-3 years with the pandemic.
Yes.
All those evil Lizard Kings lost a lot of money over 4 years with Trump.
Right.
And they're making up for lost time at the expense of the lives and futures of women and children and young men to old men, besides military age. And what's happening in Ukraine and Russia is just horrifying. So many people on both sides have been killed, but the civilian casualties in Ukraine are just off the charts. And of course, you have the war in the Middle East, which is showing tremendous loss of life.
No doubt. And once again, it's kind of like, you've toured and you've been around the world into different places. You're just thankful and grateful for what we have, because not everybody has it as good as we have it. And, I would love for the entire world to live in peace and harmony, listening to, thinking about Lionel Richie's Zoom, and just, you just want everything to just be great. That's not what the reality is. But man, when you see all this stuff go on, it's really hard for me also. It really is. But
it's no wonder the aliens don't want to reveal themselves yet. We're not fellow Earthlings yet. We're still a warmongering, evil virus upon the earth here, and hopefully one day we'll all love each other, and we'll all become fellow Earthlings, and rise to the fifth dimension of higher consciousness. Although, sadly, I don't believe you and I are going to see that in our lifetime.
Right. I got you.
Maybe in the next one. Who knows?
Maybe in the next one, man. Listen, you're an awesome dude, man. I love it. So once again, you've answered so many questions. We're going to get close to wrapping this up. Not that I want to wrap it up, man. I just have so much fun when I'm having conversations with great human beings, man. And once again, I'll say that to you. You are definitely one. And I thank you for allowing me to dive into that mental of yours a little bit, man. I really appreciate it. It's been a good thing. So what can we expect for the remainder of 2024 for Venrez?
Well, we're going to, the single went to radio today. Mm-hmm. And what you can expect for us is to go out and tour in June for the rest of the year.
Yes.
And, we're going to absolutely destroy every show. So, if you're a Venrez fan, and I don't know who we're going to be touring with,
yes,
but I think that's going to blow up. Also, a lot of people don't know that, I started a lot later. Streaming television thought it was quite interesting. So our first show in 3 years, because of the pandemic, was at the Whiskey A Go-Go. We actually headlined the place and packed it on August 21st, 2021. And they started shooting a documentary on me and the band. And they went on we had camera crews shooting a lot of one-offs, and they were on the whole tour, and they interviewed a whole bunch of people in the industry. And that's going to hit streaming television, probably in September.
Awesome.
And there's going to be some pretty big rock stars in it and a pretty big rock star narrating it.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that film, another gift from God,
Mm-hmm.
is going to make a lot of the masses more aware of us. So I think we're going to make a big statement behind this record for the second half of this year, and with the movie coming out, who knows what's going to happen, in 2025.
Yeah, awesome.
But we're going to rock it for 10 to 15 more years before I walk away.
Indeed. Yeah, my man Fran Strine, who did the documentary Hired Gun, he should have been there. He should have been there checking you out or whatever like that. Great guy, great dude. Love his work. So you kind of said it just now though, but why is Venrez a must listen and see? Yeah, now I want you to get out, get rid of that humble, and let's bring it on. I want you to talk that talk right now.
I think if you like great melodic rock and roll with superb harmonies, and kind of an old school yet new school feel,
yes,
and you want to hear that great music, but you also want to hear lyrics that are really on point, talking about extremely important and pertinent subject matter that you can relate to, things that you'd like to say and have the masses hear. I believe that Venrez delivers that. And so that would be my message to people, to go out and discover us, is that's what we bring to the table. And if that's something you like, check us out.
Indeed, man. Beautifully said, young man. Okay. So last question for you. What was the last song you listened
to? The last song I listened to is the song that just released.
That's awesome.
Well, because the band is spread out, Jason and Gabe are in LA. Right. Victor's French, so he's in Paris. Edgard's Brazilian, so he's in Rio de Janeiro. Yeah. And so it's not like we're all in LA and we can go to a rehearsal studio for a couple months before we tour. Mm-hmm. So I have to listen to all of what's going to be in the set.
Yes.
Because before the tour, the band will all come to my house in Las Vegas.
Right.
And I will have 4 days to rehearse with them. And I need to be ready, have all the lyrics, own all that stuff in a much shorter period of time.
Right.
Than it's been in the past. Another test and message from God that I can do something like that. And so right now, the last songs I'm listening to is this record, because I want to make sure all the songs from this new record we're going to play on tour, that when the band gets here, I've got them down pat.
Gotcha.
The songs from the last record that we're going to have in the set, and some of the songs from the 4 indie records that'll be in the set. I already own all of those, so that's not an issue.
Got you. So I want to add another quick thing I want to ask you. So the Sip the Cup video, is that the reason, because everybody is where they are, that it's really mainly you in that video?
Correct.
Yeah.
We couldn't really do something with the whole band.
Yeah.
Jason's not really physically there yet.
Yes, of course.
So the smart thing to do was a combination of me and AI, and the director's based in LA. So he drove up to Vegas. Mm-hmm. He had some other business here. So he came over to my house, with a dark screen and a light screen. And I used a few different outfits, and he shot all the parts of me that he mixed in with the AI.
Right.
And then if you look at it, sometimes it's me, sometimes it's someone that looks like me.
That's right.
But it's AI and it isn't. But the song talks about can't use me in your schemes.
Right.
Repeating all these things as different things, which is kind of talking about reincarnation. Where you have one life and you come back and And so you see me as I am now, and then you see me as kind of a different person that looks similar.
Indeed.
And that's, each song can have a few different subject matters to it.
Right.
They're not all about one thing, although many of them are.
I got you, man. Lovely. Okay, so young man, Vin, the great Vin from Venrez, the great Vin. I'm gonna put that on you. I hope you receive that and embrace that. Dude, you are one of those ones, man. And much love to you. I appreciate you. It's been an honor to have you on this show and talk with you. And so the floor is yours. Let the people know where they can check you guys out. And if you have anything you want to say, man, be at peace and just speak your piece, man.
Okay. Well, of course, Venrez, Venrez, theband.com would be a great place to go. So you can see everything going on with us. Join the email list so you're the first to know and be a part of all the giveaways. Please go to YouTube and watch the new music video, Sip the Cup. Just simply Sip the Cup by Venrez, Venrez. And whatever your favorite streaming platform is, Spotify, Deezer, Apple Music, please go to that streaming platform and stream the heck out of it. If you go to YouTube and watch it, give it a like and a nice comment and subscribe to our channel. And I'd be most grateful if you like us enough to do that. And thank you so much for doing that.
Yes, indeed. Well, look, man, once again, it's amazing to have greatness in your presence, man. I'm telling you, man, I've enjoyed this greatly. Thank you very much for a great conversation and great music and continued success in all that you do. I feel like we're family, and anytime you want to come back and have a conversation, it's awesome. Shauna O'Donnell, thank you very, very much, beautiful. I really appreciate it. You please continue to bring me human beings like this man right here. It makes my thing just so much. I love what I'm doing, but it just makes it so much easier. So once again, thank you very, very much. I really appreciate you, bro.
Thank you, the Lord, Nelson.
That is.
As soon as we're done, I'm going to go listen to all your music. I got to know what that's about. And it was an absolute pleasure being on your show. Thank you for your kind words. And, not every person I do an interview with is as enjoyable as this has been. And so I'm very grateful to have been a part of your show today.
Thank you very much, man. Once again, just a great time, my brother. So ladies and gentlemen, once again, you know who it is. It is yours truly, the Lord. Always got a good pause. Nelson, that is. I say that to let people know I'm not saying I'm God. I'm just the Lord. Anyway. From the show Live and Loud with the Lord on the CMS network with 5 Royals Entertainment. And with this guy, this special guy right here, this unbelievable musician and front man, Vin from the band, Venrez. Yeah.
Yahoo!
Come up, man. All right, man. Thank you.
Thank you, my brother.
And
Have a great week.
And you do the same, my brother. Be good.
All right, I'll say goodbye.
Yes, indeed. Peace.
Peace. Serving up your soul.
thousand voices sing. Wind carries the scent of a body's bent. Can't use me in your schemes. Repeating all these things as different things. Sip the cup, tears of blood. Angels watch from high above. What a sight to see, what will never be. Rivers run deep with the hearts of sheep. Can't use me in your schemes. Repeating all these things as different things. Sip the cup, tears of blood. Angels watch from high above. What a sight to see, what will never be. Rivers run deep with the hearts of sheep. With the hearts of sheep.
I am the Lord, Nelson, that is.